My name is Samuel Apea-Danquah, and as I see a lot of familiar faces here, and I've probably done business for most of you before. It's been over 24 years, if I remember, and I think this year in particular is going to be extremely challenging. Something happened 2 years ago, which has radically transformed what we can expect to happen in any election year, or in this particular election year. In November 2022, ChatGPT was made available to the masses, if I may put it that way. And since that happened, there's been a blow up, if I should put it that way, of a lot of fake news and a lot of information that's hard to discern. And in the 10 minutes that I have, I will try to bring us to a position where we can understand what we can do about, programming for, programming for the elections, specifically for the elections. Okay, so we would explore the current social media landscape and then look at effective programming tools we can use in maintaining accuracy and engaging people in the digital age. Now, the social media ecosystem in Ghana is made up of at least 7.4 million users. We have, in our estimation, roughly it borders on about 9 million users. But if we are looking at the active subscribers and people who are normally active on social media, we can be looking at about 7.4 million. But in our estimation, it's about 9 million. What that means is that considering the number of voters that we have in Ghana, or at least those who are expected to vote in the election this year, we are looking at least over half of all voters being on social media and being able to be directly influenced by whatever it is that we churn out on social media. Now, the dominant age group within which you would find a lot of active social media users are between the ages of 18 and 34. If you consider the number of voters that are expected to be able to, vote this year, this age group would be most affected by anything that is put on social media. In other words, if we fail to put the kind of information we need online, which would affect them properly, we may find ourselves in a situation where we can, improperly influence those we expect to be able to, vote, properly, if I may put it that way. Now, there are certain tools that we can use in being able to put out the, there are certain tools we can use which would allow us to put out in a timely manner articles and information that would be able to stem the flow of misinformation or disinformation. Now, I put out 4 tools that I would want us all to be familiar with and which would allow us to be able to basically store some of these things. Now, I'm sure all of you are familiar with ChatGPT at the moment. It is one way you can automate article generation. Now, one of the ways that I inform my clients, one of the things I inform my clients to do is that you can have your editorial policy as a PDF document. What you can do with that is that when you have any story during election year, during the election period, there's a high demand for information. When that happens, you would realize that a lot of people move from one platform to another looking for current information. So you would have someone going to citynewsroom.com and they would try to see if there's been any information, any update to maybe the votes that are coming from, say, Ayawaso Central, or any updates on votes that are coming from Ododudio, etc. Now, you want a situation where at any one time you are ahead of all those who want to get the kind of information that they are looking for. Now, you can fill in the gap. So, for example, if the results from one constituency is out, you want a situation where you can fill in that gap by producing information that would at least keep your user glued to the information, glued to your platform, and not moving on to other platforms. Because there is the tendency that when there is information that is, a bit sensational but false, it would have people chasing that kind of information. So in our case, what we are suggesting is that once you have your editorial policy in a PDF format, whatever it is that you want to fill in the gap with, you can simply upload your editorial policy on ChatGPT and then just issue a little prompt and generate your article. What you can do with that is, instead of having a situation where you have miscreants or people who would otherwise churn out false information, have people chase that information, you can be putting out bits of information that would keep roping in your users until you have full-length information to make available to them. Now, I'll give practical examples. You will notice that in the just ended US elections, if you follow Fox News and you follow CNN, they try to keep you on their platforms by simply issuing key race alerts and issuing, standbys and countdowns as well. Now, the issue with countdown clocks is that it allows anybody who would have otherwise moved away from your platform to know that, well, City Newsroom, for example, said in the next 10 minutes, they'll be issuing a key race alert, or they'll be issuing information as to who is likely the winner of a particular constituency. It would allow you to, after going through one or two or three other platforms, get ready to go back to City Newsroom and see exactly what they have in store for you. The other platform or the other tool I would like you to take advantage of is Deliver It. Deliver It is just as it is there. Some of you who already post to many platforms may be familiar with it. Now, the thing with it is that you don't have to break yourself into many parts, basically. Whenever you make a single post, that single post is available on all your social media platforms. What that will do for you is that it would allow you to concentrate on making sure that the work you're doing in terms of gathering information, etc., is not really, it doesn't allow you to be overstretched by, making the post to the other social media platforms and managing those posts. It would simply allow you to be able to automate all those tasks. In doing that, you have that freedom to do other things, such as obviously making sure that you have the right stories. And then the last tool that I would like to mention to you are scrapers and the ChatGPT API. Now, this requires a lot of programming, so it is not a tool you can use out of the box, unlike the other ones that I have mentioned. With scrapers, what you can do, and the advantage that you would have with scrapers is that you can actually say that I have maybe about 10 competitors. I would set my scrapers to find any new information that they already have, so that whenever they are breaking news, you have that. Once they break the news, you have that news available to you. And once you use the ChatGPT API, what you can do is that you can actually put a predefined prompt that it should provide you with the necessary. Basically, it will make a couple of checks for you. Now, we will talk about those things later, but it will make a couple of checks for you, and that would allow you to know whether the information that you are getting from other sources who are likely your competitors is the kind of information that you would want on your platform. So basically, it would allow you to break the news almost at the same time as your competitors do, without having all those resources that they are using at the moment. They may have reporters at places you do not currently have, but at least it would allow you to be able to break the stories just about a minute or two after they have broken the story. And other users may not be, may not be able to determine, the period in which that happened. As in, they will not be able to tell that indeed the story was the story that the breaking news. I'm sorry, the breaking news isn't something that was originally from you or from your competitor. All right, so now I'll talk about fact verification. There is a simple way to verify information for the average user. If it's coming from a credible source, you can be certain that it has likely been verified by that source. So, for example, if the story is coming from City Newsroom, for example, most people know that City Newsroom is a credible source. Once it's coming from there, you can be sure it is credible. And when you're sharing it, you can be sure that you are doing the right thing because obviously they have done their checks already. However, if you have a situation whereby the story, is not, it may be trending on Twitter and other places, you may have a situation where these stories that are trending may be a bit scanty in their reportage. If you realize that the stories that are trending are not stories that are coming from credible sources, you can at least in the interim consider them to be fake news. Okay, so and the last bit I would mention is the fact that knowing that the majority of our viewers or our listeners or our audience are in the youthful bracket, you probably should be targeting your stories in places where they are most likely to spend their time. So, for example, we know that with those between the ages of 18 and 24, 18 and 25, they tend to be on Instagram and TikTok. And those between the ages of 25 to 34 tend to be on Facebook. Now, if you're using Deliver It, for example, you have a situation where it automatically posts to all these platforms. That should allow you to be able to be productive on all these fronts. And then with regards to your videos, you should at least be targeting TikTok and YouTube. And what that would do for you, obviously, is the fact that you would have the kind of viewership you are currently looking for. I look forward to interacting during the forum and answering your questions regarding what has been said so far. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Samuel Apea-Danquah, for sharing those insights with us. I noticed you had a few more things on the slides around identifying fake videos and the rest of it. You sort of jumped over those. So maybe during the panel, I'll invite you to speak a bit about that, not in a technical way, but we have a lot of people who consume digital media but are digital media illiterate. So the fact that you are consuming a video and you can show it to somebody that, hey, look at what they are saying, does not mean you understand or you know how to show whether this is true or not. So it will be important to talk a bit about tools to identify using timestamp and some of those things that you did. But we appreciate the initial thoughts you expressed. Let's put on one more time for Samuel Apea-Danquah. This is the Media Executives Breakfast Meeting brought to you by the African Media Bureau. We are coming to you from the Coconut Grove Regency Hotel.